Alabama. Roll On North America Tour, presented by Kenworth. Saturday, October 19th, Wells Fargo Arena. Special guest, 𝗙𝗙𝗋𝗋, Alabama, live. All your favorite songs from the greatest country band of all time. On sale now at HighVTix.com. Produced by Outback Presents.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
All right, welcome to the show. It is Thursday, the 19th of September. My name is Chris Williams. I'm joined, as always, by Chris Hassel in Florida. Maddie Van Wink's right down the street from me in God's country, Bondurant, Iowa. We are presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery. We are in the Channel Seed Studio. Before we get into any of the game breakdown, Hassel, what in the hell is with all these college football fans, like, saying that they're going to eat shit and stuff like that if their team loses a game? It's not. This is like the new thing. So this Kansas State fan.
Well, it all stems from the Florida State fan who said he would eat dog shit if Florida State lost. What was it? The opener.
Yeah, that game
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. Yeah.
It was either the Georgia Tech game or the game after that, and then he completely disappeared.
Yeah, like
and he didn't do it
because he's just getting hell. Everybody was giving him hell. Well, I said this has been like a thing. Like every week, some fans trying to get attention, and they're like, I will eat, whatever. Name a disgusting thing. A lot of it has to do with shit. I will lick my dog's vomit off the ground if my team loses.
Cyclone Larry's kind of been, ahead of his time on this because I remember years ago him tweeting out before games, I will taste my own nutsack if Iowa State loses to blank.
He was like going to cut out a rib and eat his own nutsack, I think is what it was. So yesterday, this Kansas State fan says that they lose to BYU, I will shove a beefy 5-layer burrito up my ass. A 5-layer burrito, which I don't even know what that is, but it appears to be the tortilla, the cheese, beans, beef, and sour cream.
Yeah, that's what I lived off in college, man.
The 5-layer burrito?
Oh,
Did you ever threaten to shove one up your ass?
No.
Cyclone Larry.
By the way, Larry, I got that wrong. He didn't say he was going to taste his own nutsack. He was going to tase his own nutsack.
Oh.
This 5-layer burrito, though, it's not possible. You can't. It would fall apart if you tried to shove it up your ass. So
maybe you'd put like toothpicks in it to keep it sturdy, like a popsicle stick.
Throw it in the freezer for a couple hours. Get it rock.
Yeah, you'd have to
hard.
freeze that sucker.
Larry last night tweets, if Iowa State loses to Arkansas State, I will eat the beefy 5-layer burrito this guy shoves up his ass if Kansas State loses to BYU. So now we're just one-upping each other. Oh, yeah? Well, that dog shit that you ate when you shit it out, now I'm going to eat it if my team loses.
But see, are any of these guys real people? Because Cyclone Larry is just a personality. You can't hold him to it. The other guy from Kansas State, who is that? It's probably some no-name.
He's some guy trying to be Cyclone Larry.
Faceless guy on the internet. We need real people. We need Williams. We need you to stand up and say,
I'm not doing that.
If Arkansas State wins, I will blank.
I'm not doing any of that because I'm the kiss of death. The second I start doing that, Iowa State's going to lose. My life's already miserable enough when Iowa State's losing. I don't need to be shoving 5-layer burritos up my ass. Van Winkle, say something preposterous. What will you shove up your ass if Iowa State loses to Arkansas State?
My brand new podcast mic.
Oh, that would fit perfectly.
Yeah.
A nice little enema.
It's the shape of a 5-layer burrito.
I mean, we're already gross. So I've told you about 𝗙𝗍𝗃 Toney before, right? Do you know about 𝗙𝗍𝗃 Toney?
I've heard you mention him before. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends from high school. Named his dog Bama. Like he hates the Big Ten and the SEC. He went to Iowa, but he thinks it's just a JV league.
And his name's 𝗙𝗍𝗃 Toney?
Yeah. It's his actual name, 𝗙𝗍𝗃 Toney.
And he hates the SEC?
No, he loves the SEC. He hates the Big Ten and the Big 12. He thinks it's just garbage leagues. Just JV football. He wants, in a beer pong game, there was one cup left, right? And there's all these people standing around watching. Been a big tournament. Big, really big event. This would have been on ESPN Plus if it was in today's world. Like, really big, great ratings, all that stuff. And it was the final cup to end the game. And he didn't have his shirt on because it's 𝗙𝗍𝗃 Toney. And he shoved the ping pong ball up his rear. And he did the little like cheeky thing where so people could see that it was gone. Pulled it out.
What do you mean the cheeky thing? He spread his cheeks apart and showed everybody?
No, he clenched it to show that it was disappeared. He pulls it out, makes the game-winning shot, and those losers had to drink the beer.
Now, hang on. So he didn't actually insert it inside himself. He just put it in his crack.
Well, there was insertion in some capacity.
Into the crack. I bet there was some depths to that crack.
Well, he made the game-winning shot. One of the most.
Disgusting.
It was like Jordan at the Jazz. It was like.
And someone
Jordan over
actually
Mark
drank
Price.
the thing.
They had to. You lost.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. It's disgusting. What?
You lost.
That's
Welcome to the
so
program.
gross.
Iowa at Minnesota.
You haven't even referenced my shirt.
Yeah, that is dope. Where did you get the NASCAR on ESPN shirt? Oh, I think you've told this story before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
At
cool.
the immersion. I got to go to the ESPN NASCAR immersion like 10 years ago down in Charlotte.
That's pretty, and that's where you drove, or you were on Joey Logano's pit crew.
Yeah, brother.
Is he your favorite driver, like forever?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. He was a good kid.
Well, he's like a man now. He's not a kid.
Yeah, I know. He's got kids and all that stuff. And a good little hair transplant thing going.
Iowa at Minnesota, Iowa
Yeah,
State,
we've
Arkansas
got
State.
Iowa jumping into Big Ten football, and you're starting the first 8 minutes of this show talking about a guy inserting a ping pong into his ass.
Well, actually, it was about the 5-layer burrito, and then it led into another story. I have no idea what to expect from this Iowa game, Hassel. I'm going to put it on a tee for you. I really don't. Like I don't know what Iowa is. I really don't know how good Minnesota is. Iowa's got me all perplexed because it would have been an easy pick, like 14-10 Iowa, 17-14 Iowa. But the defense last week has everybody a little bit skittish on their predictions. Don't exactly know what the special teams are. I actually feel like I know what I'm going to get from Iowa's offense in a weird way. I have no idea. I'm not comfortable picking this game or having much of an opinion on it.
I feel like I know what I'm going to get from Minnesota. I feel like I know what Minnesota is more than Iowa. And I don't think Minnesota's that good. The only team they played was North Carolina. They got them at home, and they lost in a low-scoring game. Now, they were a field goal away from winning it. They missed it at the horn. I don't see Minnesota as a top half of the Big Ten team. I see them as like 10 in the power ratings. Mm-hmm. I think Iowa's the better team. I'm not scared of the Minnesota offense. Like I don't see them connecting on big plays against this Iowa defense, even though Iowa has been prone to giving those up. This isn't Rocco Becht and Higgins and Knoll. This is a Minnesota team and a coach that pretty much does the same thing every time they play Iowa. They want to do ball control as well, and they want to, like last year, at the end of the game, just end up with one more point. And what we forget about last year is it would have been a miracle for Iowa to win that game. Yeah, the refs might have taken it on a bad call, but Iowa needed a miracle punt return to win that game. Minnesota flat out won it. They have controlled the ball for the last several times these two teams have played, and I think that's what they're going to try to do again. I don't see Minnesota as trying to take advantage of the Iowa secondary that much. I see Minnesota as a team that's going to try to dink and dunk and run their way down the field. And so that doesn't scare me that much.
Yeah, because you're getting back to your comfort zone, the Big Ten West, in this style of
yeah,
football.
like if this was, I don't know, Indiana, I think I'd be a little more scared. If this was a team that has shown that they can score, I'd be a lot more scared. I feel like I know what I'm getting with Minnesota, and Iowa better win this game. If Iowa loses this game, RIP 2024 Hawkeye football season. It's over. Because then you're 2-3 after the Ohio State game. You're 0-3 against all the teams that matter, the Power 5 teams. You're 0-2 in trophy games. And really nothing you can do the rest of the way is going to make this feel good. This is as important of a Big Ten regular season game that Iowa has played since the 21 season when they got up into the top 5. Because, you can say, there were games last year where they had the Big Ten, the Nebraska game, they could clinch the Big Ten West, there's this Big Ten championship game. But everyone knew Iowa didn't have a chance to win anything significant in 23 and 22 with Deacon Hill, with Spencer Petras regressing in 22, and that offense. The offense is good enough where I feel like if you win this game, you still have hope that you can put together a 9-10 win season, be in the mix in the Big Ten. You lose this game, it's all out the window. So that is why I think this is the most important game in the Big Ten for Iowa in 3 years.
You'll have instant Iowa with Andrew Downs right after the game.
Yeah, it's going to be late.
Game is late.
It's going to be 10:30, I guess, Eastern time. 9:30, 10 o'clock Central. And I've got to get up in the morning and go and work HQ.
On Sunday?
I'm going to be really pissed if Iowa loses this game. Really pissed. Yeah. Are you buying what I'm saying about
no, I absolutely
this being
am.
the biggest in-conference game that Iowa has played in 3 years? Because of what could be out there, and with the new playoff and all that, and
because of the fear
swing,
factor.
and the swing to an absolutely ruined season already in September.
Yeah, I'm totally buying that aspect of it.
What aren't you buying?
No, I do you really think even if they win this, I don't know, is a 10-win season really still on the table? Do you think that they could run the table after Ohio State, having seen this team for the first 3 games?
I just, who's out there on this? They don't play Oregon.
Nebraska's
they don't play
good.
Penn State. Yeah, I don't know yet about Nebraska.
I think
they haven't
good.
beaten anybody.
Good test for them. Friday night.
I think they might be better than Iowa, but
I think they're good.
Are they a top 5 team in the Big Ten? I don't know yet.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I think that they're I think their floor is 8-4 this year.
The floor for Nebraska is 8-4.
I think so. I think they're pretty good. I really do. Because they're just so experienced, and now this quarterback's got a lot to prove, right? And Bielema will test him tomorrow night, and there's a lot to prove. And their schedule is finally manageable. They have USC and Ohio State, but they've generally, I know we all hate them, but they get screwed with the Big Ten schedule every year because they're such a good TV brand. They're always playing those top end East teams.
Yeah, they were always having to play Ohio State.
Yeah, so I think they're pretty good. At Maryland seems like that's no gimme for Iowa.
Look, I'm not saying if they win this game, they're going to.
I know what you mean.
Go to the Big Ten championship. I'm just saying they've got the offense now. That's at least what we asked for. I asked for the 99th best offense. I think that by the end of this year, they're going to have better than the 99th best offense.
I do think that Iowa's defense will come around. I don't think that it'll be like it was last year, but that's hard to do. It's hard to just mimic that. That defense will get better. I would be more concerned about special teams if I were you. And just that whole thing in general, again, you don't just replace Tory Taylor and Cooper DeJean. You don't do it. They're too good. Those are generational type players at what they do.
I kind of did a little deep dive on Rhys Dakin and this punt unit for Iowa trying to replace Tory Taylor, and I went into some stats that are pretty alarming, if you ask me. Right now, Iowa is 78th in the country in punting, and that's average yards, 42 yards a kick. Tory Taylor, even with all the pooch punts from the opponent's 40-yard line, he was third in the nation. He averaged 48 yards a kick. That's one thing Rhys Dakin has not been able to do at all, is give us a 50-yard punt with some hang time. That's what really cost Iowa last week, the line drive kick and then the bad punt coverage. In net punting, Iowa is 108th in the nation at 35.6. Tory Taylor was first at 44. So in net punting, they're losing 8.5 yards a punt. That's a catastrophic drop-off. Because this is Iowa we're talking about.
Yeah.
They were good at punting before Tory Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
They have been a bad punt unit so far this season. And because you've said it all offseason, how important that is if you're going to play in games like Iowa normally plays in, these tight games like they did against Iowa State.
Yeah, and like they'll probably be in Saturday night. These low possession games where those hidden yards are just so much more important than if you're out on a sprint. Yeah, I don't know. I just have more faith in the defense coming around with Phil Parker. And I don't think the special teams is just going to be garbage all year. It's not what I'm saying. It's just those guys were so good.
I think we're going to see all of it go back to the mean. I think the defense isn't going to be as bad as they have been the last 6 quarters. The special teams will get better. And when we say special teams, we're basically talking about punting because the field goal kicking's been there. They're 5 for 5 kicking field goals. I don't think the offense is going to have these just huge holes and great big explosive plays in the run game that they have the first 3 games. I think that's going to come back to the mean a little bit. You're going to have to show that you can throw the ball down the field a little bit. Cade McNamara, while you can talk up his completion percentage till you're blue in the face and talk about how great it is, the completion percentage was great. But when you look into the other stats that tell the whole story, he hasn't been great. He's 97th in yards per attempt this year in college football. He's 89th in quarterback rating. He's 88th in yards per game. And they've played 2 bad teams in Troy and Illinois State. So
coming up, we'll have
he has to improve, Williams.
We'll have our Centurion Stone locks of the week. We'll preview all the big games. First of all, we are doing a giveaway with our friends at Iowa Event Center. I'll bring on Van Winks here. Thanks to them for putting the Iowa Everywhere logo on the ice for this weekend's historic NHL preseason game at Wells Fargo Arena. This is so cool. They did this as like a thank you to us and like a gift to us. We didn't really know they were going to do this, and they kind of surprised us with it, which is, I thought, really awesome. They're such great partners and great people down there that have done so many awesome things for our community.
I love this logo.
It's
they also put Murph on the sidewall.
How did they get that nude photo of Keith Murphy?
I sent it to him.
can be a little distracting there for the players. But
what is Keith doing off frame, by the way? If you just move the camera a little bit to the right, is he?
Oh,
is this some kind of bet he made for Valdosta State? If Valdosta State, where Keith went, if they lose, I will jerk off.
So we're giving away a pair of tickets. We have a pair of tickets we're going to give away to the game. It's this Sunday, 6 p.m. puck drop between the Utah Hockey Club and St. Louis Blues. We put a call out to people in the comments just to comment hashtag Hassel sucks.
What?
And
I was wondering why there were so many comments that have that. Why? Why did you?
Well,
why did you do that?
we had to think of a hashtag.
We had to do something, Hassel, and it seemed natural. So
we're just going to give away a pair of tickets to someone who commented, "Oh,
what is this? What is going on here?"
We're going to give away a pair of tickets. Not giving one to Hassel. Oh, God.
Is this?
Oh, there we go.
Hey,
Oh!
Jason! I know Jason. He's a dirt racer.
Wait, hang on. Did Jason say he can't go though? Oh, he
I don't
can't
know.
go though.
Oh
Jason's my guy.
God! What is going on?
The pride of Webster City, Jason Haney.
What
76
in the
car.
hell? This is an absolute nightmare.
This is crazy.
What if we give one?
This
to
is a
Ha-
nightmare.
There we
Andrew.
go.
Andrew, okay.
Congratulations, Andrew. Going to the hockey game.
Just email me, matt@iowaeverywhere.com, and we'll get you a pair of tickets.
Going to watch that puck.
Hey,
All right. What?
where were you going to go?
Iowa State.
See, so you can't do that.
Okay.
We haven't even given our predictions for the Iowa game. And you know
All right.
what? You know what?
What?
I went to iowaeverywhere.com today. I
Did you
clicked
get our
on Randy
predictions?
Peterson's article.
Fresh up, baby. It's ready to go.
And you know who's back giving picks again?
Did Murph come back?
Murph's back.
Did he get, because he just snubbed everybody, decided he didn't want to be a team player last week and just didn't submit his picks.
He wrote the least amount of anybody giving picks. Like usually we'll all write,
Yeah.
3-4 sentences maybe. Keith is like one sentence and done. So here's Keith's Iowa pick, okay? This feels like Iowa's season of high expectations hangs in the balance. Give me Ferentz over Fleck, Iowa 24, Minnesota 17. Williams, what is your play for Iowa, Minnesota?
Again, I really don't have a great feel, but Iowa has a better program in general, and I have them 17-14. Mainly, Chris, because of the same thing you were saying. It was what was going through my head. This is comfort zone Iowa, Minnesota, Big Ten West, low possessions. It'll be a good contingent of Iowa fans there. It's not this crazy atmosphere you're going into. I will take Iowa because I think Phil Parker's defense makes a couple of picks, makes some big plays down the stretch because it's a less predictable or it's a more predictable type of offense they're going to see. I think that they come back to reality. Defense wins the game for the Hawkeyes.
Reality. I'm with you, brother. I've got Iowa 20, Minnesota 13. Hawkeyes cover. Game goes under the total. And as we talked about on Monday, I have been spot on with
Nailed
my
'em.
Iowa picks this year.
You've been on fire.
Said they'd lose a tight game to Iowa State because of Iowa State's quarterback and wide receiver play. I
Hey,
had
can we
them
go back to those picks. Van
winning
Winkle,
by 17.
Van
last
Winkle
week,
is
and they did.
developing a bit of a reputation here on the Peterson picks column
Yeah, the PP.
because he was the only guy to pick Colorado last week. Van Wink's the only person picking Minnesota to beat Iowa this week.
Well, now hang on here. I was the only one to pick UNLV over Kansas, and I was the only one to pick Iowa State over Iowa. So
Hassel,
don't give
not
me
everything has to be about you.
But you're saying he's developing a reputation as zigging when everyone zags. That's not necessarily true. I mean, I've zigged more.
Everyone has this game within a touchdown. So I think what we're saying here is that, every possession is going to matter. I think it's going to come down to special teams like it has in the past. I got Minnesota 17, Iowa 14 on a late field goal.
Well, so you're giving Minnesota special teams the edge over Iowa special teams?
It's going to come down to whoever has the ball last, I think. Low scoring, it's going to be one of those classic games for Floyd.
Fake Bob Vanderplaat says row the boat.
I don't know that we give PJ Fleck enough credit. Van Wees, can you pull up their win totals, their record over the last
I love his dressing.
7 years?
I love the way PJ represents himself on the sideline with the 3/4 zip and the tie. It's just
he gets a lot of flack for how he presents himself, and some people think he's fake. He's not fake. Okay, last season not good. After that Iowa game, they finished 6-7.
That was their Super Bowl, though, because that's the only game they care about.
They got Florida.
They only won 5 regular season games. Remember, they got into a bowl game with 5 wins. So,
that's right.
They won the bowl game. You're right.
Yeah. All right, let's go back. 2022, 2021, 22. They win 9 games. Okay, let's go to 21. Just keep going back, Van Winks, because I'm telling you, they're better than we give them credit for. 2021, they won 9 games. What'd they do in the fake COVID Kevin Warren tried to cancel the season year? They went 3-4. Go to 2019. What'd they do in a full season? 11 wins. Okay? I don't know what they did in 2018. Did they also 2018 7 wins? So let's go from 2019 to 22. They had a couple 9-win seasons. They had an 11-win season. I will say, when you try to say that Iowa has the much better program than Minnesota, they do have a better program. But Minnesota's been surprisingly good, like sneaky good over the last 5 years.
I will say this, though, and it's because of the high opinion I had of Fleck at the time, because I thought he might be Iowa State's coach. So I was doing it that year when Rhodes got fired. I was locked in on all these MAC guys like Campbell, Fleck. Leipold was in the mix at the time. He was D3. No, he was at Buffalo at that time. Excuse me. But he was previously D3 coaching legend there. You're right. Everything you said about him is correct. I'm underwhelmed by the job he's done, though. And he hasn't done a bad job. I actually thought he would do better.
And I think that's part of the reason that we think that Minnesota is like this perennial 7-win team.
I thought, and I was probably wrong here, I thought that job was below Fleck. Like, I thought when he left Western Michigan, he would go to a better job than Minnesota. This is just my perception of it. It doesn't mean it's right. Okay. Before we get into Iowa State, I want to thank our friends at Freedom. Freedom! Big fans of the show, and we are big fans of our friends at Freedom Tire. You know why? Because they're locally owned. They're locally operated. They have locations all over the Des Moines Metro, specifically in Altoona, Ames, Fleur Drive, down on West Des Moines, and over on Hickman in Urbandale. Visit freedomtire.com. Family owned for nearly 50 years. Congratulations to Quentin and all the Freedom Tire team on that, because that's a tough thing to do in this landscape, and awesome. We appreciate y'all. Iowa State hosts Arkansas State. They are I think it's like 21.5. The lines come down just a smidge, and I think that's probably right. Well, I let off with Iowa. Hassel, what do you think about the Iowa State game this week?
It's a weird spot for Iowa State because you have all this emotion in this monstrous win against Iowa. Then you have a bye week, and now you're just kind of ramping back up again. It's not sold out. Could be a little sleepy.
Rain in the forecast.
Oh, I don't like that.
At some point. Now, our friend Amber Alexander, meteorologist here at Iowa Everywhere, did put out a forecast for this game and tailgating. Mm-hmm. Go and find that wherever. It's on our YouTube, all over our social media. A ton of Iowa State fans wondering about their tailgating. So that is up on all over Iowa Everywhere.
So I work with a man named 𝗙ecie𝗶𝗹𝗶𝗿, who played at UCF and then several years in the NFL with the Jets. He's now an analyst, and he works for CBS and ESPN, and he thought he was going to get to call this game. It turns out they changed assignments on him late. But I talked to him about the game, and he likes Arkansas State to cover and potentially make this a little interesting in the second half. Because, and only if, he says, it's a big if they go with Timmy McClain at quarterback.
He's a good player.
He came in relief of the starter in that Michigan game and had success. Now, you can say garbage time, game was already won, but 𝗙ecie seems to think if they go with McClain, who I guess is more of a passer than their regular starter, and I've tried to get to the bottom of who's going to start and all that. It seems like they might go 2 quarterbacks here.
Yeah, the first guy is going to start, from what I understand. I feel like McClain may be. I would be surprised if they don't play significant snaps, if they don't both go at it, based on what I've been reading.
Now, 𝗙cie seems to think that you don't want to see McClain if you're an Iowa State fan.
I would agree with those young linebackers, right? Like it's a very different assignment for Iowa State's defense compared to when they looked pretty impressive at Iowa City, right? Like
yeah.
At that game, you pretty much you knew what was coming, and you had to stop it. To that point, Iowa State hasn't been great at doing that with Iowa over the years. And this is a little bit like what Iowa's defense saw with Troy last week, where, that team just had nothing to lose, and they're throwing it deep, and they're hyper-aggressive. Both of these quarterbacks, specifically McClain, like you're talking about, Chris, have the opportunity to beat you 2 ways, and they have very good athletes on the outside. Iowa State should win this game. This isn't a huge question. I don't think like this is going to be a sweat it till the end type thing, but I think that it's very natural for Iowa State fans to overreact to the Iowa win and be like, well, the defense is fine. And while it is, and it did play very well in Iowa City, very different test for young linebackers. They're still down 4 of their top 5 linebackers. That didn't change. None of that has changed. This team has the athletes to test you in that second level, and that's why I'm picking Arkansas State to cover in this one. Yeah, I'm picking Arkansas State to cover in. I think what I want to see, and I want to see Iowa State's offense really get into a nice rhythm, because we really haven't seen that this year. We've seen spots where they've been incredible. I want to see them in that first half, 4 or 5 possessions in a row where you get scores and really get that snowball rolling down the hill going into the Big 12. We know that they have it in them. That's what I want to see the most of in this football game, because again, I trust John Haycock. I think that these young linebackers that are out there are really talented. I still have a belief that they have a really good defensive line, and I know that their secondary is great. But I do think if Iowa State's going to be a Big 12 championship game caliber team, it's going to have to come on the back of that offense, right? And consistently putting games up in the 30s and sometime 40s. So
I think this is an opportunity to get the run game going too.
Yeah, absolutely.
See something from Sama. Michigan ran all over these bastards last week. Over 300 yards. What do you got, Van Wink?
So Arkansas State, they played Central Arkansas, Tulsa, and then Michigan last week. The Red Wolves have given up the 3rd most rushing touchdowns and the 4th most yards per carry among FBS teams. So
there you go. Get Sama going.
Yep.
Because we haven't seen much from him this season.
Note on that, Matt Campbell did say that Dylan Hastert and Jalen Travis, the 2 offensive linemen that have been out, will be available
that's
on
good.
Saturday. The Jalen Travis one is just massive. Now, I don't think he's going to start. I would doubt it because he hasn't played this year. But it just gives him so much more flexibility. He should be their best offensive lineman when he's healthy. I bet they sprinkle him in some, get him some series to get him fully acclimated and ready to go next week when they travel to Houston to start the Big 12. That would be my prediction on how they do that.
Before I give my pick, I want to give my dad's pick. Donnie Hassel in the chat says Arkansas State 26, Ames 16. You heard the man. I don't think he's ever picked Iowa State to win
16, that's
unless they played Iowa. My dad only picks Iowa State to win 1 game a year, and it's when they play Iowa.
Yeah, the old psychological messing with you there.
So I want to preface this by saying I made my pick before I had the conversation with 𝗙cie about how he thinks that, if McClain plays a lot, Arkansas State could stay in this game and stay within the number. But here's my official pick, because I think they will, Iowa State, no matter what Arkansas State does on offense. There's no reason that Iowa State should not have their way with the Arkansas State defense. Gash them in the run
Completely
game.
agree.
over the top in the passing game. Iowa State's got to be able to score points. Iowa State compare Iowa State's offense to Michigan's. Oh, my God. Michigan's got a good defense,
really
but
struggling.
Jesus, Michigan put up 28 points against this team. So I've got Iowa State 38, Arkansas State 10. Cyclones cover.
All right, we're not far off. I have Iowa State 34-17. I just think that I've seen enough of these Matt Campbell games where if they're up 3 scores in the fourth quarter, I just can't see them doing much. Arkansas State got a late touchdown against Michigan to make that game look closer than it actually was, and I think something like that happens. I think Iowa State has the game under control in the fourth quarter, and you got a backup quarterback out there, and you've got backups across the field, and this is just one of those things where Campbell puts the old anaconda on and tries to take the game away. And it'll be really boring in the fourth quarter. So there you go, 34-17, Iowa State wins it.
Rocco Becht has a streak that he needs to keep alive this week, though. From the CBS Sports research team, Becht has thrown 2+ touchdowns in 6 straight games. That is number 2 in the country, behind only Kyle McCord of Syracuse and previously Ohio State. So only Kyle McCord has a longer streak. Becht needs 2+ touchdowns to keep that going.
Also heard a nice little nugget from The Godfather yesterday. Becht
Walters?
has thrown, Becht has thrown a 50-yard completion in each of the last 6 games.
Wow, that's even more impressive.
I think it's 6 or 5. Yeah.
I'll give you one more Rocco Becht stat.
Okay.
Don't blitz this guy. It's really early to tell, but this is from Pro Football Focus. He's grading out 82 when he's being blitzed this year. He's 17 of 23, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's elite under pressure. One of the best quarterbacks in the entire country when you blitz him.
Best quarterbacks numbers go up when they get pressured.
He is seeing the field really, really well early on here in 2024. Fareway Meat and Grocery presents Two Guys with Chris and Chris here on Iowa Everywhere. The first thing I do when I get to Ames on Fridays, I'm unloading the RV, so I go to the Fareway Meat Market and see what tasty treats they have for me to put on the grill on Friday night, where I'll be watching the Nebraska-Illinois game. Hey, speaking of that, hey, Hassel, wake up, get up, it's game day.
Get up. It's game day. Chris Williams and Chris Hassel take a look at this week's best games. Powered by Game Day Men's Health.
Carol is in the comments. She says, I'm sorry, Chris, but your father kind of sounds like a jerk.
And she's talking about my father. Yeah. He does have very jerky vibes at times.
Game Day Men's Health presents our Get Up It's Game Day segment where we highlight our 3 favorite games of the weekend. Each one of us, I started with Illinois at Nebraska. Friday night, great Friday night game, top 25 game in Lincoln. Number 24, Illinois at number 22, Nebraska.
Interesting game, but I'm going to throw some, water on the fire? I don't know what I'm supposed to say there, but I'm gonna 𝗀cie you a little bit.
You're gonna pee in my Cheerios?
I don't think even the winner of this game I'm not a full believer in yet. I'll be more impressed with Illinois if they win this than Nebraska.
No doubt.
Illinois is the 7.5, 8-point underdog in this game. I don't think Illinois is a top 25 team. I don't think Illinois is a top 35 team. I think Nebraska has the potential to be a top 25 team. What has either team done? Illinois has beaten a Kansas team that just lost at home to UNLV. That's 1-2. Nebraska has beaten a Colorado team that we think is going to win 4 or 5 games. So I know you're a real believer in Nebraska, but
I just think Rule is a solid coach, man.
He's a good coach.
If you look at what Rule has done in his rebuilds in the past with Temple and Baylor, like Nebraska's on that same trajectory where I don't think they're going to go 10-2 this year. Like they're going to have some losses where you're like, but I mean, 8-4, wouldn't that be a really good year for them?
For who?
For Nebraska?
I thought you said that was the floor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, wouldn't that be a really good year? I think that's the type of team they have.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, and if they go 8-4, they're borderline top 25. Borderline.
Yeah.
But I'll be watching. I mean, this is a fun game on a Friday. This is back-to-back weeks we've had good games on Fridays.
We have number 12 Utah at number 14 Oklahoma State. Maybe the game of the week, depending on what conference you like. You have one of your games we're going to talk about, and then neither one of us are putting USC Michigan in here. That's what we think of Michigan, I think.
Yeah.
But this game, I mean, could ultimately decide the regular season championship in the Big 12 potentially.
I saw some people online, some Big 12 people giving ESPN all kinds of hate for not taking game day to this game. Come on. This game is not nearly as sexy as Tennessee going to Oklahoma. their first SEC game, and the amount of money ESPN has tied up in the SEC. It follow the money, people. Yeah, but come on. You cannot tell me that you would rather watch Utah, Oklahoma State than Tennessee, Oklahoma.
I would. But I'm a Big 12 guy. Like the nation would not.
I love the Big 12 too, but I would much rather watch Tennessee, Oklahoma.
The nation is much more interested in that other game.
It's not even close. If you did a poll, a nationwide poll, what game would you rather watch? Utah, Oklahoma State, or Tennessee, Oklahoma? It would be 75% at least Tennessee.
I don't disagree. I would be the part of the 25%, but that's because I'm immersed in the Big 12 365 days out of the year, so I'm very biased when it comes to that. But this game, Cam Rising is supposed to play, which changes everything. If he doesn't play, Utah's a totally different team. We saw that last year. We've seen that when he hasn't played this year. Struggled with their in-state rival, Utah State, last week. He is supposed to play. Oklahoma State is weird to me. Like, I know their offense. They feel like a retro Gundy team where they're going to struggle on defense and score a lot of points. I think Utah gets them. I think Utah is. I think they're like a 2-point underdog right now. Is where that line has moved to, and this just stinks like high heaven to me. More physical football team wins. If Cam Rising's truly healthy, Chris, I think Utah takes care of business.
I think Utah is the better team, but it's going to be a great atmosphere in Stillwater. Yeah. Oklahoma State has been tested. I mean, Arkansas had them dead to rights. And that might have been the thing that got him back on track here. I don't know. It's a true toss up to me.
And then Dion is the train wreck that I just can't look away from. I hate that I'm doing this, but I will be interested in Baylor at Colorado.
Well, that's another toss up game too.
Yeah. Did you see Dion yesterday, Matt? I don't know if we have this video. Prime is really ticked off at a reporter for being critical of his son, I believe.
Is it 𝗀𝗄? Was 𝗀𝗄 being critical in a column?
𝗀𝗄 can't talk. They have a muzzle on 𝗀𝗄.
He can still write his columns, though.
Set us up here, Matty. Yeah, this is Coach Prime yesterday going at a reporter about how much money he makes.
Yeah, I
thought it was about the money the players are making.
He's saying the reporters are jealous because they don't make more than the players. It's like, let's hear it.
Genuinely love these kids. I genuinely really do. It's not about what they can do for me on the football field. It's about what I can help them with in life. Landscape has changed in football. Once upon a time, you guys never attacked college players. Now they're making more money than y'all. And some of y'all are envious and jealous about that. So you're on the attack. It was hands off a college player because he's an amateur. Remember that, guys? Now it's hands on. Go at them any kind of way you want. They're making more money than me, and I'm mad about it. When you attack them, these guys are sensitive. They've never been attacked. They hadn't gone through what I've been going through with y'all for years. They haven't done that. So it is what it is. I know you're going to do your job and what you must do, but your job does not say attack. The personal stuff, leave it to be personal, because if we start flipping the script on y'all, you wouldn't like it. I can easy. Thank you.
Well, he's already done that. I mean, he's already personally attacked other reporters. Dion has.
And he's kept them from doing their job.
I honestly had more of a problem with what he said to start that. Can you play the start of that clip again, Van Winks? Just like the first 10 seconds of that clip.
I genuinely love these kids. I generally really do. It's not about what they can do for me on the football field. It's about what I can help
After
them
he
with
kicked
in
off
life.
like half the team last year.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, you're really bringing these kids in so that you can help them. Like that's why you're bringing said guy in, so that you can help them. It's not about what they do on the field. Give me a freaking break, man.
Wasn't he like taunting a kid that transferred and said that he was taunting him on Twitter? Really love that kid. And first of all, Dion, like, sports writers have been broke since the beginning of time, okay? So this isn't a new thing. These players have been making more than the sports writers for a long time.
All those sports writers want is they want a free media meal.
Yeah. Give me a freaking Diet Coke. That's all we need.
They want a cheesy 5-layer burrito. Come on.
Randy Peterson chimes in, long-time reporter, and he's right. He says they're now pros. They are fair game for researched criticism. Yes, research criticism. You're not attacking them personally.
No.
But you can be honest about their play. What the hell's going on out there? Nori, stop it.
Wow, that's a good dog. She just shut right up.
Pool boy here.
Let's see if it lasts.
The other thing that I'll just, because this is a theme for me, Chris, is another example of these programs and athletic departments are just, I don't think, ready for what's coming in the employee era with these fans.
You know what you should do? You should start some kind of side business. Maybe it could become your full-time job, where you advise. You can be an advisor to programs. Listen, this is what you need to get in place. This is what's coming down the road. You need to be ready. You want to learn how to handle that? Pay me my services.
I'm your guy.
Oh, look at Iowa State's general manager of the football program is pissed at my dog. The dog is very distracting. What is going on? Hang on a second. My wife. Oh, Jesus. Okay. UPS is outside the neighbor's house.
Did you hear Murph? You were catching strays from Keith and Andy yesterday.
Yeah. Now don't give it to me. If they had a dog, a 70-pound dog, barking in the background, you would be able to hear it on their mics too. I don't have as big of a house as Keith and Andy do because I don't make as much money as they do from Iowa Everywhere. We're paying them a lot more money than we are. I can't afford a bigger house.
I just threw a little filter on your mic. Let's see if that helps.
Did you really? You threw a filter on?
How the hell did you do that? He's
Iowa?
in Florida.
Yeah, I'm a wizard.
I'm telling you though, like this thing with Dion, it's like, hey man, you should have been prepared for this. You're out there starting wars with the media every freaking time you open your mouth. The expectations are through the roof for you guys, and you really haven't lived up to anything.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think happens when you put more pressure on your players? And when your players are, what happened last year at UCLA? It was something about like one of their players was like showing off his gold chain and saying he drives a Lamborghini or something. Like, these guys are kind of feeding into it. When Jalen Daniels, the quarterback from Kansas, shows up to media day 2 years ago and he's wearing an Apple Watch that's playing highlights of himself on a gold ass chain, like it is different. Totally. I'm sorry, and it does suck for the 18-year-old who's never faced criticism in his life, and now he's being thrown into this. But now it's your job to prepare them for that because it's only going to get worse. And now you have Tennessee openly admitting we're going to put a $10 or a 10% tax on tickets to pay the players, which, for what it's worth, I'll give you a take on that, and I feel like I'm a little bit unique here. I actually respect it. Because at least they're not just hiding it. At least Tennessee is saying, hey, because I think most fans are okay with paying a little bit more if it knows it goes to the players to make the team better. I think they're fine with that because they have a little bit of control over it. I actually, in a weird way, kind of respect that Tennessee was just like, yeah, this is what we're doing.
Murph and Andy went in depth on what Tennessee did on yesterday's Murph and Andy show. I think they covered pretty much everything that I wanted to say about it and did it probably even better than that. Yeah, so if you haven't listened, check it out.
Andy's was really good.
And also the CW pod this week with Andy was amazing. It was phenomenal, especially if you want a little peek into why Chris Williams is a genius for creating Iowa Everywhere and is doing a service for all the local guys Listen to the first 30 minutes or so. And then if you want to be like Van Winks and get all pissed at him for what he had to say about dogs, then listen to the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was really controversial stuff. I mean, Van Winkle was like pissed.
It was unbelievable. I mean, for a guy that got bit by a dog and called the police.
Yeah, literally tried to kill his neighbor's dog. I mean, that's what Matt
He
did.
was acting all high and mighty in the group chat from what Andy was saying about staying away from mutts. All right, let's get
I've had 3 purebred golden retrievers in my life, so
I've got this purebred black English Labrador that won't shut the hell up over here.
All over you.
She unplugged my microphone.
Electric bark collar on that thing.
God, she's 7 too. She's acting out. She's lashing out. All right, let's get into my games. We're still on our get up. It's game day.
Yeah.
Miami at South Florida. You know all about the coach down there at South Florida.
Oh yeah, it's my guy, 𝗀liche.
That is a pretty good program.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the biggest home games they've ever had. They usually never open up the upper deck there where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play. Well, that thing is open. That place is going to be rocking. Miami's number 8 in the country. And I think Williams is going to have a pick on this game.
I got you a little insight coming
little
up
bit
on
later.
that.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's a really interesting in-state game there because I'm not sold on Miami yet either. We'll see. Every time they get into the top 10 over the last 20 years, they've fallen flat on their ass. The next one, staying in the state of Florida. Cal 3-0 at Florida State 0-3, and this is basically a pick 'em. Florida State favored by 2 or so. Oh my God! If Florida State loses this game at home, I mean, they might as well just shut it down at 𝗀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹 Stadium.
Yeah, a lot of good jokes this weekend about Cal going into Tallahassee.
That's my Cal Bears, by the way.
Your Cal, well, that makes sense. Van Woke.
My mom went to Cal. I'm a Golden Bear, man. I used to go to the Cal Berkeley summer camp every year. Oh yeah,
Seriously?
yes.
I didn't know that.
By the
That's
way,
cool.
you guys know my mom was a early Apple employee out in the Bay Area. So
we started to hear rumblings of this last week
about
how like your mom they fired her because she was pregnant.
Well,
What?
I'm not gonna. This was back in like 1989 when
Keith
that
was
stuff
telling me
flew a little
about
bit
it.
Wait, so this is Van Wink's fault? Wait, Keith is gossiping about Van Wink's
He told
mom
me to ask Van
being
Winkle.
Well,
pregnant?
my mom got pregnant with my brother, and they basically were like, "You can take time off, but we can't guarantee you'll have a job when you come back." So,
That's amazing. And now, what? 30 years later, we are.
So now you have a
we're
trust
allowing the men to take. I mean, we got guys. Our producer Noah, God bless him. This son of a bitch takes 3 months off when he has a kid, and he's just sitting at home.
I can promise you, independent, locally owned media, you don't get that.
well,
I was editing stories in the hospital room when my firstborn was in basketball season.
the stock that my mom got from leaving Apple paid for my college, so I'm not complaining too much.
Okay,
So
that's great.
go Bears.
Yeah, when Jake Brend asks for 3 months off of bigger than 12 when he has a kid, you're gonna laugh right in his face.
I mean, I would love to be able to give people that, but it's like,
Come on, that's excessive. Like take a couple weeks. But look, we don't need the kid. He was so ready to get back to work. There's nothing he's doing at home.
I interviewed Royce White on my honeymoon.
You interviewed Royce White.
It was
on your
right when
honeymoon.
Fred was getting all those transfers. We had just gotten married. All I did that entire honeymoon was work on transfers.
What the
in
hell
Iowa
does that have to do with what we were just talking about?
The point is, when you're locally owned small business, you just work all the time.
Okay.
You're not taking time off for any of that stuff.
I thought you were going to say Royce White said that when I get elected to office, I am going to make young mothers go back to work within the first week after their pregnancy.
Yeah, I heard Andy's going to do the show from Mexico next week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, no, tomorrow.
No, tomorrow. He's going to give it a whirl.
I had to give him a rundown on like what internet will work, what internet will not. So this will be interesting. Stand by.
One more game from moi, and it's the big one. It's number 6 Tennessee at number 15 Oklahoma. I've seen all you guys in the comments saying Tennessee is going to win this thing by 30. Let's just hang on a second. We'll see. The line is what, 6.5? You know what's really
it's above 7 now. I think it's 7.5.
7.5.
Everybody's on Tennessee.
Okay,
everybody's on Tennessee.
I know they are.
Yeah.
I know they
so
are.
Go
but
bet Oklahoma.
These folks in Oklahoma, they're upset because all the shine has been on Texas for entering the SEC, and everybody's
Rightfully
been like,
so.
"Oh, wait, Oklahoma, you just wait." And they've looked like shit so far this season. They really have. I'm saying this could be a lot closer than people think. Tennessee has played nobody yet.
And Heupel, too. That's an interesting.
So get this.
Yeah,
this is the
going
first
back to
time
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma has been a 3 or more point underdog at home since Josh Heupel was Oklahoma's quarterback in 1999.
Wow. That's a stat. That CBS Sports stat crew is just killing it.
They're all over it. Justin Page and those guys are great.
Should we do our Centurion Stone locks of the week? Centurion Stone of Iowa. Hired them to do my fireplace upstairs. Did you see, when you were there, did you notice my beautiful fireplace that my friends at Centurion Stone put in
I
there,
didn't.
Hassel?
I every time I was in your house, I was either drunk or hungover, so I
It's par for the course.
don't remember much.
Centurion Stone of Iowa.
You guys
I
are
think
both
I
3 and
showrooms
4,
in
by the
Nebraska
way.
too.
3 and 4
Both
for you guys.
3 and 4 on the year, so not exactly locks.
I've been really hit and miss. Like on my misses, I've missed big time, but on my makes, I mean UNLV +7 at Kansas last week, and they win the game outright.
For what it's worth, I really like both of mine this week. Like I really, really like them. Kansas
Well, I
State
hope they
minus.
do. You're calling them locks.
Kansas State -6.5 at BYU. BYU is completely overvalued in my opinion with some of the wins that they've had. I mean, that Wyoming team that they beat is terrible. They beat SMU, and SMU was just really, really struggling at that time. Don't really know who they are. And I think Kansas State last week really got it rolling against Arizona. Similar team in BYU, in my opinion. We're not that good up front. I think, remember Iowa State's game at BYU last year? I think this could be a lot like that. I think Kansas State really establishes itself here. And
There's no doubt Kansas State's the better team. That's a great atmosphere, though, in Provo. I mean, that's not an easy place to go.
No.
Especially early in the year. They're 3-0. They're feeling like they could be good.
9:30 kick locally or here in Iowa. So Big 12 after dark. The other one is I'm going to take the 17 points in South Florida against Miami.
What kind of insight you got on that?
I don't have really much other than Alex's teams play really well in these games that matter.
Boy Alex, his teams.
Well, they remember the Bama game last year. Played them really tough. This year, they went into Bama, played really tough.
That final score against Bama this season, completely deceiving. South Florida was within 5 points with 6 minutes to go in that game in Alabama.
And I also like the fact that Miami's just been killing people because they are probably overvalued on the market with the public right now, I would think. And 17 points in a game that South Florida hosting Miami is a huge deal for that institution. Yeah. I mean, that is as big as it gets, other than maybe having Florida or Florida State in there. But I think they'd probably rather play Miami right now based on everything.
Oh, yeah.
So I just think that this is a game that they've put so much emphasis into, and they're a really good football team, South Florida is. 17 points, way too much.
I like it.
Way too much.
I'm going to a big battle between the MAC and Conference USA.
You're sick putting this on here, and I
yeah.
freaking love it. You're disgusting. This is a great pick, though.
Toledo, the
Yes.
Rockets, the Red Rockets of Toledo, -1.5 at Western Kentucky. Now, when I sent this in, it was -1.5. I'm seeing it at 2.5 now. So the line is moving. If you want to ride this with me, you might want to get on this quick. Toledo has blown everybody out they've played. Blew out Duquesne, blew out UMass, fine, they suck, whatever. Went into an SEC school last week at Mississippi State, just blew the doors off. Yeah, sure, Mississippi State, a bad SEC team, okay? But it's still the MAC going into Starkville at Mississippi State and just pimp slapping their asses, 41-17. So I like Toledo to go into Bowling Green, Kentucky, and handle the Hilltoppers.
Former Iowa State offensive coordinator Jason Candle, the head coach.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that.
He was
Light
on the
the
flight.
candle.
He was on the flight with Campbell and Skip to Iowa State, and he actually worked for Iowa State for like 12 to 24 hours. And then he got the head coaching job at Toledo and flew back. He was gonna, he was going to be Iowa State's offensive coordinator with John Haycock, and then he ended up getting that job.
My other lock this week is Texas Tech -3 at home against Arizona State. Now, I did have Texas State beating Arizona State last week, and Arizona State got me.
You got a problem with Kenny Dillingham?
I think Texas Tech, really bad start to the season. They almost lose to an FCS school. They get beat by Washington State. Last week, they take out their frustrations. They're up like 50 points at halftime against a decent North Texas team. Decent. They end up winning 66-21. But I feel like Texas Tech, there's kind of a regression to the mean here for Arizona State and the other way for Texas Tech. Arizona State's been great. This feel-good story. I think that comes to an end this week in Lubbock, and Texas Tech handles business, winning by more than 3.
For what it's worth, this is one of Bloom's biggest nudges this week, too. He loved this game. Talked about it on our show yesterday. I've only bet 3 games this week, and 3 of them are on the screen. My 2, and then the Texas Tech, Arizona.
You're rolling with me on Texas Tech along with Bloom. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you guys both feel that strongly about it, I ride with my guys. You know, I'm a ride or die.
Steve Kemp is confused because so Bowling Green is the Falcons, yes. Western Kentucky is the Hilltoppers, yes. Bowling Green is the name of a team in Ohio, but Bowling Green, Kentucky is where Western Kentucky plays.
Aha.
So it can be confusing for those of you that haven't been to Bowling Green, Kentucky. My map where I put the pins in all the places that I've been, and like the whole state of Kentucky is filled up from pins that I've just put on Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Couple of other quick topics that we do need to touch on. Very quick ones. Iowa basketball gets a nice commitment for the class of 2026.
How about that, huh? Beating out Iowa State?
Well,
for the in-state kid.
What? I don't know if I would say that.
What do you mean?
I mean, Iowa State had really cooled on him. But
I don't know.
Look at his other offers, by the way.
Okay, come on. Hang on a second. You shit all over this kid.
I'm not shitting on him. He's a nice player. I think he's going to be a really nice player.
I don't know how to pronounce his first name.
Navon, I believe.
Navon Shabazz.
I think that's how you say it.
Navon Shabazz. Matt Gatens goes out there, gets this kid from Davenport, plays it.
You got to get him. He's right there across the street. Absolutely. It's a great get for Iowa.
He had offers from Iowa State. He also had an offer from Wake Forest. Van Wink shitting all over the offer from Siena and Southern Miss. Williams, you're claiming Iowa State didn't want him. Oh, we didn't want him anyway. We didn't want him anyway.
Yeah, okay.
What?
He picked Iowa over Iowa State.
You're saying Iowa State told him to take a hike?
No, I'm saying that in basketball recruiting, there's often layers of like your tiers. And
sure.
Yeah.
From what I've been told, Iowa State had higher priorities in that class of 26.
Correct. And this kid was Iowa's number one of their top, and he should be. He's from right there. It'd be like,
I still think that this surprised a lot of Iowa fans that they were
a great get.
Able to get him.
Yeah.
By the way, Fran has a 2026 commit before he has a 2025 commit. So no 2025.
All this hate.
I'm just stating facts.
Do they need a 25? I haven't broken down the recruiting classes and who's going to be there. I I don't really look. It's 26. The kid could go to Kentucky before he comes to. Who knows? I don't get too caught up in all this stuff anymore. I just thought it was.
That's a long time from now.
Yes.
I'm not nearly as into high school recruiting because of the transfer portal. It's like,
yes, right.
It's so hard for freshmen to come in and like really make a true impact with 26-year-olds out there, you know?
Mm-hmm. And Iowa's got a few of them. I mean, Samford. I mean, he's an old dude now. I mean, I think Iowa's going to surprise a lot of people this season. But,
I think Iowa might have one of their best teams in a while, for real. The Twitter X, the algorithm is interesting. What it serves you up. Well, I got this video, and it just reminded me of you. Have you ever thought about when you stand and piss?
Now, hang on a second. You're telling me your Twitter algorithm served that up to you? I sent this to you in a group chat like 5 days ago.
Did you really?
Yes.
I didn't see it in that. I didn't see it.
I sent this to you.
Well, I got it served last night. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Well,
do
that's
you
funny.
want me to play the video?
Yeah, because this reminded me of Hassel so much.
Stupid AI. Okay.
Do you know how dirty it is for a man to pee standing up? During the 21-second release, guys usually aim for 4 spots. The back of the toilet is the most destructive option. The rebound splash can be up to 7,550 drops of urine. If you're facing the water in the middle of the toilet, that's 372 drops of urine. Simply put, even if you're the best shooter, you can't escape the splash of urine. When the urine flies 7.5 to 15 centimeters, the urine will collide with each other in midair, so it breaks into smaller drops,
and it will
flying higher, farther, and wider.
Into your
the
skin,
maximum process can reach 91.4 centimeters, dropping onto the toothbrush, towel, tissue paper next to it. And 77% of guys will shake after peeing. The residual urine will also become everywhere. If they are not cleaned up in time, it will slowly form urine scale. It gives off a bad odor. Many men may think that peeing standing up is a sign of male honor. But in some countries, most of them pee sitting down. For example, German boys are taught from a young age that peeing while sitting is the real deal. And according to a study, that there was no difference between boys peeing. There's no difference in the speed or time of peeing. So do you stand or sit? Feel free to discuss in the comments section.
Of course.
7,500 particles of urine to splash. So you're not supposed to aim for the back.
Right. And this is, for those of you that are just listening to this, this was only, it's like an elephant trunk. It's only... They only did this about the toilet. They didn't do it about the urinal. The urinal is even more splashback because you're standing a lot closer to the urinal. And that's why a lot of times, and I used to avoid urinals because of that, because I hated the splashback. I've kind of just given up. I kind of just said, to hell with it. I'll take the urine crystals. So I use a urinal every now and then, but that's why urinal that's usually at the very end because it's down a lot lower, so the splashback only gets to your shin, not like your hands on your actual body. So this stuff you got.
Did Hassel freeze, or is it just me?
He froze.
Your Fiberlax internet has been really struggling here in the last minute.
Pee particles on your mic.
Yeah.
God damn it.
It's all right. You're back now. Your dad's over here tweeting about golden showers.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We got you breaking down urine. That cracked me up. The other thing is Bloom is apparently, you had this in the notes to put in here. He's giving away an Amish bench.
Yeah, you didn't hear that?
Yeah.
He's giving away, again, they're trying to give away these Amish benches that they, what were they trying to sell them for originally 3 years ago? Was that, no, 2 years ago?
Like $2,000.
Yeah, get one of these Amish benches.
$6,000.
It was the Brent Bloom signature collection, remember?
Oh, God, yeah, that's right. Is this one of the Brent Bloom autographed chairs?
Yeah, I don't know if he's giving it away. So We Will's having a golf tournament to raise funds for women's basketball tomorrow? Because I know this because I'm speaking at it.
Yeah, it's a raffle item.
It's a raffle item.
You got to buy a raffle.
What is this going to go for? If it's a raffle item,
raffle.
there's no
Like
way.
you gotta buy a raffle
it's a
ticket.
deal where you have a raffle ticket and then
So this isn't one of those where like I'll spend 40.
No, somebody's gonna win this and they're gonna go, what in the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, they're gonna win it. And they're gonna say no thanks. Can I have something else?
Can I give it to that guy?
Is this the only thing in the raffle, or
no? They got all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff. It's
just amazing to me that Bloom is still hanging on to this thing. Is still trying to. I mean, there must be a shed somewhere that has like 5 of these things just sitting around waiting for somebody to claim them.
Sons of bitches are heavy too, and I know this because I've hauled them in my truck before.
Can I have some money?
Didn't Bloom try to give you one?
Yeah, I didn't want it. I mean, I'm not putting that thing near my house. I said if you have a black and gray one, I would take it.
Yeah, the colors are the worst part about it.
Yeah, because it's just so
It's
bold.
a Ronald McDonald. It belongs on a McDonald's playground.
However, I would make the point. That at some point, this thing is going to be like an iconic piece of furniture. Like, we will look back and be like, oh, my God, that son of a bitch got an Amish bench.
Yeah, like at the Iowa Event Center this weekend, there's like a card show, and somebody's bringing like old Wrigley seats.
Oh.
You know, in 100 years from now, like those Amish gliders could be relics, could be worth something.
I
completely
wouldn't
agree,
hang on
Matt.
to them. Like, my dad hung on to all of this antique furniture that his parents and their parents had, and it's all just sitting in his basement rotting. No one will take it. They tried to do like a estate sale. Nobody wants this stuff. He's like, well, it's worth thousands of dollars. Nobody wants it. If nobody wants it, it's not worth anything. Get rid of it. He's like, why don't you guys take it? Yeah, we're going to have antique furniture in our house down here. We barely have enough room for a bed.
I mean, your dog. All we hear is your dog. Your dog takes a piss outside, and we can hear it through your microphone.
Did you know that when a dog pees, urine particles split into millions and millions of tiny particles, and they insert themselves into your system, a bloodstream?
Hey, cheers to the freaking weekend, shall we?
Cheers to the freaking weekend. Let's raise our glass of Steeple Ridge bourbon.
Whiskey.
Are you ever going to have that son of a bitch redo the opens for Iowa? It's for Instant Iowa.
Hey, I'm not in charge of production here. That's a Van Winkle thing.
It pisses me off every time I do
Van Winkle wants
Instant
to
Iowa.
say Iowa, then it's going to happen.
Instant Iowa.
You heard my voiceover work for Cyclone Fanatic. I could do it if you want.
Yeah, we could do it for free. I don't have to pay Van Winks. I don't know what we're paying this guy in Canadian money.
You like whiskey? Daddy likes whiskey, especially on a Friday night when he's watching the Cornhuskers play. Do you want to come over and drink some Steeple Ridge bourbon with me?
Who did you just invite?
Nobody. So, I mean, I'm going up, not tailgating, but I'll be camping. I'll be tailgating Friday night at the old RV Village.
You're camping tonight?
Friday night.
Oh, yeah. What are you doing tonight?
I'll be at dance class with my girls.
Oh, God, that sounds terrible.
Cammie is getting a ceremony at karate to get her new belt. And
I'm trying to think of the dollar figure that I would need to attend that tonight.
The karate thing's badass. Like, my daughter is a badass.
How long does this take?
The karate thing is 45
your
minutes,
whole night,
and the dance is an hour.
Your whole night going to your kids' events. How long is that going to take?
Well, you got to drive there. I'll leave the house at 5. I'll get back around 8:30.
Okay, so 3.5 hours of kids' events. I would need at least $20,000 to even entertain doing that tonight. Even entertain that.
Van Winkle knows what standing at that freaking dance studio is like for an hour.
At least
it sucks.
They put some benches there for us to sit on.
Yeah, our youngest, Matt and I's youngest, are in the same class, so a lot of times we get to rub elbows together. And there's a bar right next door, so that's
Jake's
nice.
pub.
I've been known to hop over to Jake's.
So your kids are doing karate, and you go over to the bar next door?
No, dance.
Dance, yeah.
I thought they were doing karate.
I bet half of the people who attend that bar are dance dads.
Oh yeah,
it's a genius thing out of Jake to put that pub right there.
They got Goodwill next to the right, and then the pub next to the left, so you can go.
So no, I'm doing that. I'm camping, and then Sunday we'll be working because Big 12 season starts, obviously. But I'm really excited to watch the Vikings in Houston. Couple 2-0 teams.
Surprised that the Vikings are 2.5 3-point underdogs in that game.
I feel like they're baiting us.
I do too.
Yeah,
they want you to take the Vikings.
I feel like it too. So we'll see. But I'm excited. I'm actually excited about that football team. Hopefully they can get. If they don't have Justin Jefferson, I think it'd be really hard to win that game. But their defense is really good, and Sam Darnold might be the best quarterback in the entire NFL.
Did you know that when you pee standing up, the piss particles break into tiny millions of microparticles and go into your toothbrush, and sometimes they reach your mouth and they go into your tongue, and you could get your tongue amputated from disease from the piss particles.
What are you doing all weekend?
You thought that you came across that video yourself when I sent it to you.
Sorry.
I think you made that video, Hassel. I think
I'm in too many text groups.
Yeah, it is. It's unbelievable, really.
It's very overwhelming.
It's Keith Murphy's fault. He's split text groups. There's a text with 8 people, and then there's a text with 7 of the 8 people, and then there's a text with 6 of the 8 people.
What are you doing all weekend? Just sitting around on your couch in your underwear?
For the most part, but Sunday I have to work. I have to work in studio at HQ because one of our anchors is having a baby.
Good for her.
It's a guy.
He's having a baby?
Yeah. I'm not saying like he's delivered.
That's what you said.
Well, he is having a baby.
You said one of the anchors is having a baby.
He is having a baby, but I mean, it's his kid, right? His wife is delivering the baby, but he's...
No, you say one of my coworkers' wife is having a baby.
Well, he's having a baby.
He's not having a baby. His wife is having a baby. They are having a baby. He is not having a baby.
If they are having a baby, that means he's also having a baby.
Am I like stepping in it right now, Matt? Am I going to get canceled?
Oh yeah, you're done.
I think everyone wants to know the burning question. Did you ask him if they're going to eat the?
Placenta.
It's funny you mentioned that. We had a conversation in the newsroom yesterday with Kyle Long, who has had a couple of babies. Kyle Long used to play for the Bears, Howie Long's son. He works at HQ now. He says he gets under the hood when his wife has a kid. He catches that baby. He catches that placenta. He didn't eat it.
No.
But he caught the whole thing. He says he loves it.
The placenta's back, baby.
I ain't getting under that hood. I'm a windshield guy. Have a great weekend, everyone.